Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Don't you understand, George? It's because you were not born.
Film church.
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
I'd rather face 1,000 million savages than one woman who's learned how to shoot.
Hey, 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 and welcome to Film Church Radio, the podcast that treats cinema as a religion. It's Sunday. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Pinky.
And we're here to talk about Three Women and other movies. Each week, Lewis and I alternate picking a film for both of us to watch and discuss. And of course, today I picked the film Three Women, directed by Robert Altman, starring Sissy Spacek, Shelley Duvall, and Janice, who I don't think I've seen her before.
No.
But of course, you know, Shelley Duvall is in classic horror films as well as Sissy Spacek. Which ones? You know which ones. Hopefully. If not, I'm sure we're going to talk about it here in a little bit. Before we get into the show, though, we always like to thank everybody who's been listening to the show. So this is the part where I say thank you for listening to the show. If you like us and like the show, let us know. Send in an audio clip or a question or something, and let us know your thoughts. You can ask us a question what we think about a certain film. You know, participate in the community however you want. If you want to share it with your friends, you can tell them to go to filmchurchradio.com, where you can find us on all good podcast platforms. And we have a store now if you want to buy some merch. I think we'll probably put out some more merch here hopefully soon with some different movie swag and stuff like that. So go check us out. And then we're also on most of these social media platforms at Film Church Radio as well. And you can hang out with us there. Before we get into the film Three Women, we're going to discuss other films we've been watching this week other than our main feature. So this is kind of like our hymn section of the church or trailers before the movie. So what's up, Lewis? How are you?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, dude.
Good.
Just sipping my coffee and trying to wake up.
Beautiful. And the cup that you're sipping your coffee out of is the coolest cup.
It
ever.
Looks like a lens. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I've taken this different places and people are like, what are you doing with that just sitting around? I'm like, it's not a real lens. It's a coffee cup.
It's brilliant. I think my first film that I'm going to talk about is going to surprise you by my positivity around it, which doesn't seem like a film that I would normally enjoy. But it's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny from this year.
Wow.
Yeah. I finally got around to watching it. I haven't watched it yet, obviously, and this is the first time. And I had a really good time with it.
Yeah.
When it came out, I know that critics didn't really like it and it kind of didn't do very well. But I went in with that kind of expectations, I guess, just to see it, just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. It's a good Indiana Jones film, you know. Yeah. There's more chances that are taken with this than has been taken in the last 15 Marvel films.
Yeah.
So that has to be applauded. And it's the same kind of journey and entertainment that you would expect from an Indiana Jones film. I don't know whether people are expecting it to be more grounded and more serious, but they've never been grounded and serious. They've always been like Saturday morning cartoon style films. And this just leads right into it. Yes, it's bloated. It goes on a bit too long. There's characters that are weirdly missing from any promotional trailer or poster that seem to have a big part in it. Like Phoebe Waller-Bridge's friend. He's like in the whole movie, and I didn't even know he was going to be a character. So weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good. I gave it 3.5. I had a good time. Thought it was fun. I will watch it again. I'm looking forward to watching it again. And it's not the worst Indiana Jones film. So, not bad.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I gave it the same kind of rating. It was, and I went in, I did the same thing you did. I went in with low expectations, and then it managed to surprise me, I think. And I mean, it felt like it was spending time with the character again, which was fun.
Yeah.
But of course, the original trilogy will always be sacred, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But they could have done. I don't know. It's like shoulda, coulda, woulda, whatever. It's like, does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Just have fun with it. Whatever.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Exactly. And I think it is just a fun movie. I wish it had been maybe 30 minutes less. Then I think that might have been like a 4-star, because a lot of the action sequences are just a bit like, okay, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And Mads Mikkelsen doesn't really get too much time. But I mean, it's not his film, is it? So it's a good Indiana Jones mystery, I think. I've always been a big advocate of Temple of Doom. So my Indiana Jones radar is maybe a little bit askew compared to everybody else's. But yeah, I like it. I think it's good. And I'll watch it again, like I said. And then we went to go and see Wish, which has just been released. The new Disney film celebrating 100 years of Disney making money. I mean, films. And it is not the best. It's not.
I wish it was
Disney. Better. I know. It seems like all the ingredients are there, but there's just no charm. There's songs in it that are fine, but not as good as like Encanto or Frozen.
Yeah.
There's like side characters like the star and the little Billy Goat that again are fine, but they're not like top tier Disney, sidekicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not brilliant.
It's
and
not
it should
must
be.
Go. Must see.
There's like a full like trailer for, it's not really a trailer, but just like a celebration before it starts of like, this is all the 100 years of things that we've put out, and like, here's to 100 more. And you're like, the quality was so much better. You've got to make every film like it's your last film. And at the moment, this is just like it doesn't feel like anybody, this is their life's work. It doesn't feel like anybody.
Is Wish the one with the weird animation?
Yeah, it looks like a video game. That was another thing that I wanted to say. I didn't think the animation didn't work for me. It looks cheap. It looks like like the Disney video games that are kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah. It looked
like the iPhone video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looked like that.
Yeah.
When you think... The whole way through, I was thinking of Encanto, and I was just like, that had so much more life and color to it,
Well, Disney has always done, they've set the standard for animation forever.
Yeah.
And then they got into this thing of, the computer animation, Pixar stuff.
Yeah.
And then I think they've been doing the same kind of Pixar style animation for so long, which is not, it's not to say it's bad.
No.
I think people just got a little maybe bored with it. And then Into the Spider-Verse won Best Animation, and that was so inventive and new. And other films have been trying to, emulate that a little bit, like the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think, did a really good job of doing something experimental. Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles looks like a bunch of paintings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, so I think it's their attempt to kind of, explore the different types of animation and try to do something that's more like Into the Spider-Verse, but still keep their standard look. Yeah. And it just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
It looks flat and
It does.
lifeless.
Yeah. There's some. It does. I mean, there's some nods to like the past 100 years in there, but it's literally like being hit over the head with like a frying pan. It's like you think that you notice something, and the next scene it's like bang, 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 bang. We told you this was it, and it's like just I don't know, just a bit more nuance. Just slow it down, because it's. I mean, there's certain elements that I'm like, okay, this is starting to kick into gear now, but it never does. And like so many films, especially of Disney, you're hoping for this big kind of emotional punch that never comes.
Yeah.
And I think that they're looking at it from a different angle to celebrate 100 years of Disney, to celebrate like the community that it brings people into, which is cool, but it just doesn't stick it.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 5. And I can only like hum the main song. That's because I've seen the trailer so many times.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But, the CEO has said that they're going to focus on quality instead of quantity now. So that's a thumbs up, right?
Are they, though?
I mean, so soundbite.
We'll see what happens, but
yeah.
I mean, what was the last good Disney movie?
I would say, Encanto was good in terms of not like top tier, but it was fun. Potentially,
Coco was good.
Coco's like, I think Coco's my favorite Pixar film.
But that's already been 5 years ago.
I know. Encanto. That's the one I keep coming back to. I think we watched it a lot with my daughter, and she really connected with it. So
yeah,
for that,
I don't think or maybe I did watch that. That's the one with the uncle in the wall, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I did see that.
Yeah.
It's good. And all those songs just like were so trendy for a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I need to rewatch Soul. I don't think I gave Soul enough shrift. I need to watch that again.
Well, there was 2 of them, right? There was Soul, and what was the other one?
Turning Red was really fun. Is that what you were talking about? The one that went straight to Disney Plus?
I didn't see Turning Red, but there's 2 that are about like spirits, I think. Is Soul the one with the jazz player?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I feel
and
like
there was Elemental as well.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. No. Yeah.
Elements. Yeah, water and fire and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think, which was, again, I think it was probably better than this. Better than Wish.
Yeah.
But still not fully formed. Yeah.
Yeah, but Elemental got put out on
it
Disney
was
Plus, right?
It went to cinemas, but I think they announced within like a few days, it's coming to Disney Plus. But then it did really, really well over the summer. So I think it's one of the highest grossing films of the year, just because it just carried on and on and on and on and on.
It might have been one of the only kids movies out this summer.
Yeah. I mean, Super Mario was earlier this year. Right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That was that
and
March?
That did really, really well.
That did really good. Second highest grossing of the year, I think.
Wow. What was the highest? Spider-Man?
Barbie.
Oh.
Yeah. I think Spider-Man's 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
But yeah, Barbie and then Super Mario.
Barbie.
Yeah. And then Oppenheimer, I think.
I think I fixed it, but it was funny. I'm using some new AirPods.
Yeah.
And I think it was maybe because I had noise cancellation on, but every once in a while, your voice would get really low and then it would go up really high.
I'm not doing it. It's not me.
It was cracking me up. I was trying not to laugh at you while you're talking about everything.
What have you been watching, my friend? That's all I had to talk about.
Yeah, a couple of things, not Disney movies.
Oh yeah, both of mine were Disney.
I know it's weird, right?
I say like I didn't get married at Disney.
And the dial of Disney. Yeah, exactly. You're a Disney fanboy.
Yeah, that's me.
I mean, a lot of us are. At this point, it's like they own everything. What are we supposed to do?
I know. Yeah.
They're getting our money. one way or another.
Yeah.
Plus, it's crazy how many companies Disney owns outside of Disney.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the list, it's like, are they the ones ruling the world?
I don't want to say because this podcast might not be here.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So on Thanksgiving Day, me and Sarah watched The Color Purple.
Nice.
The Steven Spielberg film from 1985.
Yeah.
I had never seen it. She had never seen it. She had wanted to watch it because I guess she's been reading about it recently. And I know about the film. I'm obviously a Spielberg fan, but I've never gotten around to seeing it. And there's a new one coming out, which I think is a musical.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really sure because the trailer, it just looks like a drama, but then there's like some big dance numbers, like flashes of big dance numbers within the trailer, and I'm like, is this a musical? I can't quite tell.
They've been hiding it, haven't they? They like the new Wonka film. They've been hiding that that's a musical as well.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Really? I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
They're all musical. I mean, all the Willy Wonka's musicals. Weird. But, yeah, The Color Purple, you've never seen it, right?
I've never seen it, no.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's worth watching, for sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Whoopi Goldberg is awesome.
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey, before she was Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
And Danny Glover.
Nice.
The cast is huge. It's also got Lawrence Fishburne in a smaller role. I don't know quite how to feel about this movie. It is such an intense drama and story. But it's got this, like... and it's very obviously Spielberg, but a certain era of Spielberg that's like... it's got that magical, cartoony thing to it.
Mm-hmm.
And in the context of this story, it's like awkward in moments. It's like, what are we watching right now? Because it'll be so intense. And the emotion is real. Like, you feel the emotion. It doesn't necessarily take away from the emotion. But you're put in such an uncomfortable spot.
Yeah.
And it could also be, it's like, I'm a white guy, so it's like, and it's a film about African Americans in the early 20th century struggling and, in abusive families and things like that. So, but it's like, it feels weird the way that it's all handled. I don't know. If that makes sense. You'd have to see it to understand. I mean, you probably can understand a little bit, but it would be like it's like you're watching a serious drama, but then it's got like the tone of like, well, it's hard to describe because I feel like so many other of Spielberg's films are dramas and still have that.
Is it still going for like the family-friendly demographic?
It's not though, because it's got such. I mean, right off the bat, within the first scene, if you did think it was going to be family friendly, you probably left or turned it off. But it does still have that weird. I'm not saying it's a weird technique that Spielberg does, because he's got a good technique, but it fits weird into this context. I still enjoyed the movie. Like, it was great performances, a gripping story, very emotional. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. They do something with the ending that I didn't particularly like, where well, I can't say exactly or it's going to give it away, but it's one of those things where there's a twist at the end that just is really supposed to be positive, but it's like, that was bad.
Oh, dear.
Like, it just kind of takes away from the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Everything that we've been seeing. It's worth a watch for sure.
Yeah.
I think you should see it as a fan of these actors and actresses and Spielberg. But I'd be curious to know what you think. And a few of the things I've read online, a lot of people also felt the same way. I just didn't expect. I don't know what I expected. I don't know. I guess I didn't expect so much of the cartoony. It's like literally like cartoony in parts.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this serious right now? Like, there's a part where the two of the men that are not great people are just like sitting next to each other and in each other's faces, laughing maniacally and saying like, "We're so evil, ha 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 ha," like over and over, and like smashing eggs on each other's head. Oh, wow. And that just sounds like a cartoon, you know what I mean?
It does,
like,
yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's still very emotional and gripping. Whoopi Goldberg is awesome. And Oprah Winfrey is also really good. I'm like, I mean,
damn,
obviously
Oprah?
she's had her, she didn't need to like go on acting and stuff. She's made
she's doing all right.
over $1 billion probably, and but it would have been interesting to see her, I mean, I guess she probably had like small roles and things throughout her career. I think she did cameos, but nothing like this big of a role. And it's amazing to me, like, the makeup is really good in this movie, because when the film starts, Whoopi and Danny Glover both look really young, like teenagers or early 20s, young. And then by the end of the movie, they just look like they do now.
Weird.
And I guess it's makeup, but it's like really hard to tell. And it's like,
I think Spielberg has a time machine.
Yeah, maybe.
That's how he did it.
But so I watched that, and then I watched Hot Rod from 2007 with Andy Samberg.
This is one of my like highest to watch list, because I know I'm really gonna like it. I don't know why I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I've seen it before and really liked the movie. Sarah's seen it a ton of times, so I had bought it on Blu-ray a while back, and we finally put it in and watched it. But it's basically a Lonely Island movie.
Nice.
Produced by Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And this is right at the time that Danny McBride was coming up. Like, he had done his first film, and it was bought by Will Ferrell, and I think this was his first role outside of that. So this is like his first time in Hollywood doing something bigger. And then the other side character is Bill Hader.
Nice.
And he's awesome. And then it's basically Andy Samberg and as the main character, and Jerome, however you say his name, the other Lonely Island guy. And then the third Lonely Island guy, what's his name? Sorry, I don't know these guys' names. Akiva Schaffer is the director. He directed the film.
Oh, nice.
And it's also got Sissy Spacek in it as their mom, but she doesn't really have a lot to do, which kind of sucks.
No,
I wish her role was a little more involved, but but the film is, yeah, it's I think you're gonna like it. It's hilarious.
I'm pretty sure I will. Yeah.
But yeah, good stuff. Highly recommend that. That is all.
Wow. Yeah, Hot Rod, I think, might be something I watch over Christmas because it seems like a very enjoyable film.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking it might be my Christmas movie recommendation. Spoilers.
Ooh. Well, I've take you up on it.
You'll see why when you watch the movie.
Okay, cool. Got a sixth sense for it.
But yeah, other than that, the only other film is going to be our feature presentation. Three Women, 1977. One woman became two. Two women became three. Three women became one. What? That's a weird description. Two coworkers, one a vain woman and the other an awkward teenager, share an increasingly bizarre relationship after becoming roommates. Doesn't it just sound good? Not really. I feel like that's just like, that's probably what was on the poster, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's like three women became what? What are you talking about?
We can talk about it.
Who did what? Who did what?
Yeah.
It just sounds like a orgy or something, and it's like, no, that's not what the movie's about.
Yeah. I mean, even the poster that's on Letterboxd is very
suggestive.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not like that at all.
No suggestions.
No. So this was chosen due to our random algorithm that we do, where we just pick a random year and pluck a film that neither of us has seen.
Yes.
And we've already talked about a Robert Altman film this year. So I feel like we're double dipping the Altman.
Yeah. Two Altmans became one.
Altman, yeah.
So you picked 1977, and this was like all the way down, like number 7 on the list or something of.
Yeah.
By the time we found a film that we hadn't seen. What are your thoughts?
I have never seen Shelley Duvall in anything other than The Shining and Annie Hall. And in Annie Hall, she only has one little kind of vignette. She's not in it a lot. So I was very excited to see her with Altman, because I know when we talked about The Shining with Andy, we talked a lot about her kind of leaving and then going to do Popeye, which seems like the weirdest kind of change in character for me. Yeah. From Wendy Torrance to Olive Oil. Bizarre. So I was really excited to see her. And in the nicest possible way, Sissy Spacek just freaks me out.
Yeah.
So
she was good at that.
Yeah, so I knew this was going to be an interesting film. Shelley Duvall is incredible.
Right?
Holy smokes. You can see why one of the greatest directors of all time basically gave her his biggest female role.
Yeah.
Because she's insane. I mean, she just, every scene, she like just carries, you know?
Right. Isn't she delightful?
Yeah.
She's so good.
She's so good. But so is Sissy Spacek. But the trouble is she gets overshadowed. Like her switch halfway through is so good that it's like watching two different actresses.
It really is, yeah.
But she's going up against a powerhouse. So she always feels a bit overshadowed. And I don't know if that was maybe what Altman was kind of looking to achieve.
It definitely doesn't hinder the subject matter of the film.
Definitely not. Shelley Duvall, man.
Because that when that switch happens, Shelley Duvall becomes overshadowed, and you feel like you're now just watching the opposite.
Yeah,
it's opposite day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so strange. It's like, Sissy Spacek becomes Jack Torrance.
Yeah, because the whole way through I was like, is the three women those two and Janice, or is the three women Shelley Duvall and then the two sides of Sissy Spacek?
Yeah.
I would assume in general terms they all end up together. Spoiler. So the three women would be Janice Rule, Sissy Spacek, and Shelley Duvall. But
Yeah.
at first I was like, is this where it's going? Is there going to be like a dual personality thing here? But yeah, I mean, I think Sissy Spacek has got that way of just, I don't know, being creepy enough to not be noticed. Do you know what I mean? Like she plays these characters so well of just being like small and downtrodden and like apparently helpless.
Yeah.
That when she did do the switch, that the fact that it kind of worked was the biggest revelation, because I was so used to her being like Carrie. So when she's not like Carrie, you're like, wow, it's working. She's like a different person.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know? Yeah. And I do wonder if that kind of influenced her casting. You know, if Altman saw Carrie and was like, okay, this is the person I want for the first half of the film.
Right. Yeah.
But you know, she needs to change because Carrie came out the year before, so I'd assume this would be in pre-production at that time. So
yeah, casting around the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't even know what other films she had come out around the same time either. But I mean, yeah, I'm sure she just nailed the audition, or he saw her in some other movie or a play or something and knew she had that range.
What about you? What was your reaction to it? Like,
dude, I love this movie. This movie was so good. Like, it was so refreshing. Like, man, we've watched so many good movies this year. I've been thinking about this recently. Like we've picked some really good movies this year. My list is going to be huge at the end, like in our favorites of the end, because man, so many good movies, and like there was so much to enjoy here. Like the pacing is really good, the acting is really good, the way the story unfolds, you don't know where it's going, what's coming next, but then sprinkled throughout the film are all these great little details that just get funnier and funnier and better as you watch the movie. I mean, like her dress being caught in the door every single time she's driving, it just gets better and better. And yeah, I mean, just going in blind too, I think, not knowing what it's going to be about. And then, I don't know, Shelley Duvall, her character just reminds me so much of people I've met, or maybe even myself at times.
Yeah.
And whenever she just in all the first scenes, she's just always talking. No one else is talking. She's just talking. Nobody's listening to her.
Yeah.
But she's still talking to them.
Yeah.
And then Sissy Spacek's character becomes obsessed with her. And then in one of the earlier scenes after their first day of work, she's like standing outside, and Shelley Duvall's walking behind the two of the women that work at the facility, and just talking. They're not paying attention, and you think that she's gonna notice Sissy Spacek standing there as she's walking by, but she doesn't. No. And she's just like walking to her car, still talking to the women, turning around and talking to them.
Yeah.
I think at that moment, the movie got me.
Yeah.
I was like, this is hilarious. This is doing something interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just so... And then I felt like, okay, maybe at this point, the movie is just going to stay in this, I guess it's a rehabilitation center. And it's going to feel a bit like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or something. We're just going to stay in this facility, in this confined space.
Yeah.
And these characters are going to start to do more, who knows. But then it switches it up and it goes to a new location, and they go to this bar, and it's just like out of another world.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I love mini golf.
Yeah. Everything, like the set design, all of it was just, I don't know, man. It was just so refreshing. The cowboy character, I forgot even what his name is. that guy
Edgar
was,
Hart.
Yeah. Robert Fortier, is that his name?
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if I've seen him in anything else. He's in Popeye and Star Trek.
Yeah. Small part of Singing in the Rain, apparently.
He his character when he came on was amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously he becomes kind of icky, later on in the movie. But that first introduction of him, I was like, I like this guy. This guy is hilarious.
With his little pistol.
Yeah, and it just adds so much tension too, because he's like so eccentric. Yeah, and he pulls the pistol out and he's like, bang!
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, this guy is off his rocker. Thinks he's so cool.
Yeah.
He's like, he's like an older, what's his name? From Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Or it feels like he should
Rick
be
Dalton.
in that movie.
Yeah.
He's like an older Rick Dalton.
Yeah. If Rick Dalton had never gone abroad, that's what he would have turned into.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, just so much to like in this movie. Oh, also early on, they're like, we're both from Texas.
Yeah.
And she was like, where are you from? Longview. Well, how about you? I'm Houston. And it's like, I grew up in Longview. I live in Houston currently. That was weird.
Yeah. Is your name also Mildred?
Yes. Dude, that part was so funny.
Why do you think they call me Millie? And I love that Pinky's just like, oh.
I hate that goddamn name. Yeah. That was so great. Like, all of it, I don't know, just so well, it was so clever.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like, I mean, it's like when magic happens with movies. It's like when there's a good script already, the dialogue is funny.
Yeah.
If you're just going to read the script on its own. But then you add in these actresses and the set design, and the cinematography, and then everything enhances it in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, wow, it works.
Yeah, it does. I think that it's got that real interesting way of creeping up on you as a film. You kind of get, and you're looking for the hook, right, the whole way through. You kind of, because they talk about the twins. You're like, is she going to try and, is the tension going to come from them, from her trying to be her all the time? Where is this collision going to come from? And there's never really a collision that comes. It's always, it's just kind of hinted at until the very end when it's just like, whatever. Edgar's dead. They probably killed him, but we're not going to dwell on that. It's more about how these characters have, changed each other's lives.
Yeah, and the ending is really dark.
It's really dark. How she starts calling Millie like mommy.
Well, but even before that, I mean, there's like spoilers.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
There's the
birth scene,
baby scene, and it's very I don't know. It's like that's the only part of the movie that might keep me from rewatching it really soon, but because it's a little hard to watch. But like,
because I don't know with that whether with Pinky if it's like, if it's saying, if it's showing her that she's kind of been putting on this front the whole time, that she just saw the time in hospital as an excuse to kind of change. Or whether it's the kind of old worldy medicine view of, oh, she's had a big shock. She just needs another shock and she'll be back to normal. It's the kind of, the the two wrongs make a right kind of thing. Because in the last scene, she's back to the Pinky that we met, in the first 20 minutes, right? She's like, kind of.
But even more to a degree, like
Yeah.
you said, because she calls her mom,
Yeah.
her mother.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, it does end like and then they all live in this big house together, like a commune. It's it's very strange.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind a sequel with them currently, where they're all like really old ladies.
Yeah, still living together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Janice Rule still with us, Willie? She's not.
I don't know.
Unfortunately. Passed in 2003. But yeah, I mean, any Shelley Duvall now would be great. I miss seeing her on the screen. So.
Yeah, just get her and Sissy Spacek back together, man. Like.
Yeah. Still working at this Western tavern.
Yeah.
Still burying the bodies.
Still calls her mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, the filmmaking is excellent. All of the shots of the paintings riddled throughout the film add this impending violence.
Yeah.
That you only really get a taste of. There's nothing really super violent in the movie, other than, I guess, the baby being born, but I wouldn't really categorize that as violence necessarily.
Yeah.
And then they hint at killing the guy, but you don't see that.
No.
I mean, Millie gets slapped in the face.
Yes,
or not Millie, but
does,
Pinky.
Yeah.
Millie slaps Pinky in the face.
Yeah.
But I mean, and there is shouting going on, which for a lot of the movie, for the first half of the movie, that none of that is really happening. You get this like Shelley Duvall that's like always nice and whatever, and then but in the beginning you keep getting these flashes of these paintings, so you feel like the drama is coming.
Yeah.
That
it's
was
very,
done really well.
Like Greek mythology-esque. And anyone that knows Greek mythology knows that women were strong and, basically just slaughtered a lot of people. So I think, it is definitely that kind of that subgenre that's going on through your mind. And the fact that the water keeps kind of creeping on. So it always just feels like a dream. It never, none of it feels real, but it all feels. Then you have one of those dreams where as soon as you wake up, you're like, of course it was a dream, but at the moment it feels so real.
Yeah.
I feel like this is this film. It doesn't, when you're watching it, it all feels really lived in, and then when you've got any hindsight on it, it just feels like narratively, it just kind of kept bouncing around. But when you're in it, it follows like the same train of thought kind of thing.
That's interesting, yeah. Yeah.
Which is not easy, because we've watched films for the podcast where we've been like, it was like a dream, but I did not know what was happening. You use it in the kind of negative connotation of, I was lost a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I felt like I got everything that it was trying to say.
Yeah.
Which is great. A master at work, for sure, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one shot that I really liked that just seems so simple, but it it was really brilliant. It's like something that I would show kids in film class or something, where they're getting the ready for the party, and Shelley Duvall has brought all the groceries home, and they're like unpacking them, and the camera just slowly zooms in on the groceries on the counter and then stops, and then there's a cut, and all the food has been made and prepped, and then it's on the counter, and it zooms out into the scene.
Yeah.
It was great.
That scene is one of my favorites. There's something that Shelley Duvall says in there that I wish I'd made a note of. I can't remember what it was, but she says it in such a great way.
When they're getting ready?
Yeah, when they're unpacking all the food. And she kind of describes one of the food items, but it's in such a Texas twang. And it's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that scene when they're going through the food as well.
I love the part when Pinky's in the hospital and Millie is at the hospital, like trying to find out what's going on, and the doctor's talking with Millie, and he's like, "You got a little piece of tobacco right there," and he just touches her lip, and he just holds it there, and he's like, "Right there." All of the male doctors in this movie,
all of them are.
Well, that too. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But like there's like the guy that works at the rehabilitation center, and then there's the doctor there in the hospital, and then there's
he just doesn't know he's always so annoyed. He's just like, oh, I haven't got time for this.
Yeah,
which is so funny because what else is he doing? There's nothing there.
Yeah. You're not doing anything, bro.
Yeah,
like I feel like that captures something so real.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm sure.
You know?
From a female standpoint, I'm sure there's a lot of times when all men seem like this. Either too busy and too rushed to care, or sleazy.
Yeah, or, no sense of boundaries.
Yeah, or, advantageous, as is implied the doctor was. But I'm never sure at that point whether, if that's Pinky elaborating to be more like Millie. If that's, she's seen her opportunity to kind of, I don't know, be more like Millie in that instance and claim that she's, been having all these affairs with men and stuff.
Yeah.
Or whether it actually happened. But that's the genius.
You don't.
Because
exactly.
Yeah, you just don't know, I think, Shelley Duvall has definitely jumped up to the top of my, wow, they're incredible list.
Yeah.
Just based on this film alone. I feel like I know Sissy Spacek's good. And I know that on this Shining we talked about her performance and how great she was. But I don't think
how underrated she is. Like how she's because for a long time people categorized Shelley Duvall's performance in The Shining as annoying.
Yeah.
But it's not I don't think that is fair at all. Like I think that that's the character for one thing.
Yeah. She's supposed to be frail and you're supposed to start to side with Jack at some point.
Yeah, it's by design.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to want Jack to kill her.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be cathartic because, like, why would you want that?
I know.
Yeah. So, I think it's because, Kubrick was a little too good at his job to the point that he actually got everyone to hate Shelley Duvall.
Yes.
Potentially.
Yeah.
But she's incredible. And I think maybe Popeye has jumped up on my list because I'm like,
what is that film?
I love Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's a Robert Altman film.
Yeah.
What is that movie?
I did as soon as it's funny you said that. As soon as this finished, I went and watched the trailer for Popeye. Because I was just like, what? I read an interview with Shelley Duvall from Roger Ebert just before it came out. And he said something like, there's no other person that could play Olive Oil than Shelley Duvall. And I'm like, I need to see it.
Yeah.
I need to see that film come to life.
Well, I mean, there's probably nobody else that could play Popeye other than Robin Williams either. Like...
yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, maybe in the new year, Popeye will be one that we pick.
Yes. Yeah. One of the lines that I loved was when she's riding in the car with the cops. And he's like, now, let's see, the color of the car was mustard, just like your dress. No, that's English mustard. My car is more of a French mustard. Who wrote this film?
That's a great question. Let's have a look.
Robert Altman, Patrick Resnick. Well, with Patrick Resnick, 2 people.
So she also wrote 9 to 5, The Player.
Oh, Patricia. I'm sorry, I said Patrick.
A few episodes of TV and stuff. But yeah, around that time, some other... This was her first uncredited writing, credit.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it helped that a female helped with the script.
Yeah, it feels very...
part of it.
From an outsider, it feels very lived in. I'm not sure. It feels like for the women of the film, they're caught in this transition of time where, for it, like, Millie, Shelley Duvall, is very progressive in the fact that she's chasing male. She has a lot of dates. She's got a plan. She wants to keep her apartment. She's got a plan for if they have a male guest over, she's got the pull-out, so for all that. But she's also spending a lot of her time talking about recipes that she's color-coded. And, like, she leaving shoes out it's like caught between the 2 generations of women. The homemaker, but also the, like, free, liberated version. It's one of those characters that could only really be alive in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to the bar but then leaves because all the guys are out dirt biking.
Yeah.
So, she's like, oh, well, nothing for me here now. It's an interesting time period for this film to be made, I think.
Yeah.
Because they're all, I mean, Pinky shows that she can take care of herself because at first she's very fragile, but, she's not. She can make it in the world if she tries,
If you try.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she... Yeah, it just reverts back to this helpless child.
I mean, I think anybody seeing that would kind of revert back.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's what they've been basically doing with Edgar behind Willie's back, could have resulted in this. So I think for both of them, it's it's a big wake-up call. It's like, oh, God, we could have done Willie.
Yeah.
Poor Willie. I wish she had more to do, but I think sometimes it works better. Maybe it's about the bonds that tie women together. Because if they did take care of the guy, there's not much of a relationship there.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he's commenting on. Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot to keep getting out of this movie with future watches.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to show this to other people.
Yeah. I know. It's cool. It's really cool. And I feel like it's a very interesting 70s movie to show.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about the change in Hollywood and how it was all kind of everything was changing at the end of the 60s and becoming something new. This seems to be like a perfect example of that. Because it's not classical. It's like very lyrical,
It's an interesting time because, like, I feel like I miss this time in cinema.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I feel people taking risks. The film feels more like a novel than it does a film.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I mean, the same year Star Wars comes out.
Crazy.
Which I feel like every movie now is trying to be that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which Star Wars is great, but, like, not every movie needs to be Star Wars.
No, exactly.
And I wish more films were trying to be like this.
Yeah. I mean, 77's a good year. We talked about Sorcerer,
Yeah.
How we love that, the way that was made and stuff. Maybe the 70s are what I should focus on a little bit more. Because this has been really fun.
Yeah. I mean, Tarantino, that's what he is always praising.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, just more
Anyway.
risks. Yeah, more
Yeah.
risks, please. And seeing these wonderful actresses do amazing work.
What did you think about Dirty Gertie?
I like Dirty Gertie. I would not have pulled on Dirty Gertie. When
And she just keeps laughing and laughing
Yeah.
and laughing. It's like, Lord.
Yeah, I would have been like, pass. I'm gonna leave Dirty Gertie on the wall.
Yeah. Don't touch her.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's
All
good.
right.
Robert Altman is just like killing it. So
Dude.
Yeah.
Good job.
yeah.
50 years later. So, yeah, anything else you want to add?
I went looking at the review from Sight and Sound from around the time just to kind of see if they had put the finger on the pulse of any, how it played to an audience in the 70s. And I found something, and they opened their review basically by talking about that it defies analysis. So whatever the ideas in it, they seem both during its 2 hours running time and on later reflection to be irrelevant. Three Women is a vision. It happens to use an enormous number of complex and sometimes wayward cinematic and narrative devices. And I can understand how alert and sensitive cinema goes may be affected by what they take to be perverse or downright pretentious. It's so rich and mysterious in its imagery that it's bound to set off radical personal reactions. Which I thought was really cool. I like the fact that at the time it's been praised for being more dreamlike and more, and that the plot points are irrelevant. It's just the feeling you get from watching it.
Yeah.
Which is great. That's
Yeah.
Different.
Interesting.
Yeah, normally it's always about the story for me, but I like that this worked for me, even though it was less about the story, more about the characters and the feeling.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, but that was it. I just wanted to share that because I thought it was interesting.
Cool. Yeah, that is interesting. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So what are we watching next week? Or should we rate the film first? Let's rate the film.
Let's rate it.
Or guess what we rated the film.
I think you gave this 4.5.
I think maybe you gave this 5.
Ooh, interesting. I gave this movie 4 stars.
I want to give it 5.
Awesome. We'll split the difference, and the FCR gave it 4.5.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just can't think of anything like that I would knock off.
Yeah.
For.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hesitant to give it 5 out of 5 on a first watch, but I mean, man, it was so good.
Yeah. Reason it's 4, I think that it does work really well, but I think to kind of really like live in it for a while, I need to see it a few more times for it to kind of just really elevate to a 5. There's some films that I watch and I'm like, okay, that really emotionally moved me somewhere different.
Yeah.
And with this, it's kind of, I did really enjoy it, and I know and understood it, but I think there's still room for me to have more of a reaction to it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, old buddy, old pal, old friend, what are we watching next week?
Next week, I'm taking it right back to 1932. We haven't done an old film for a while, so we're going to do one now. Criterion have recently put out a very nice box set of films from Todd Browning, and included in that box set is the cult classic Freaks from 1932. So that's what I'm going to pick, because I watched it a long time ago and I want to watch it again. It's a notorious film, and I want you to see it too.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, next week we'll be watching Freaks.
Sweet. I don't know anything about it, so.
Ooh, you're in for a good choice. You're going to have a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That'll be next week. That brings us to the end of the show, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Film Church Radio. And You can follow us individually on Letterboxd. I am at Selmascope and Lewis is at WalkerLewis3007. There you can keep up with what we've been watching. We also have all of our back episodes streaming on all good podcast platforms. Please leave us a rating and review so we know if you liked the film. And if you didn't, what would you pick for us to watch in the future? Thank you for being here, and we hope to see you next Sunday for more Film Church Radio. The only thing left to say is,
I wonder what it's like to be twins.
Huh?
Twins. Bet it'd be weird. Do you think they know which ones they are?
No, Pinky.
It's an interesting thought. All right, we'll see y'all next week. Amen.
Amen.